Welcome to Mike Brown Barbecue. Today we're going to be smoking ham brine spare ribs from start to finish on this 250-gallon offset smoker. Stay tuned. Alright folks, in today's video we're going to be doing ham brine spare ribs, Texas style. And in order for us to get our ribs ham brined, we got to make a brine. So I'm going to start out with my pot down here hot and preheated with two things of this pickling spice right here. I want to put it in there, and I want to get these ingredients nice and toasty right off Jump Street, kind of release the aromatics. Again, that's McCormick pickling spice, two things of it. Kind of get it moving around a little bit, get everything nice and toasty. When you start smelling the aromatics real good, and it's all spice and everything just releasing up in there, then you'll fill that up about halfway with water, and then we'll add our other ingredients. Got to keep everything moving real good. You don't want nothing to burn. And when you start smelling those aromatics real good, then that's going to be good enough. And you can hear them aromatics in there popping. So this is doing its job. Aromatics are released. Allspice, the mustard seed, all that stuff in there starting to pop. At this point, I like what I'm smelling. We're going to add some water in. And you hear the sizzle from that water. That gives you an idea how hot I had that. That's all the water I'm going to put in this pot right here. We're going to bring this up to a slight simmer. And the next thing we'll do is put our brown sugar and our salt in. We're going to go in first with our 40 grams of pink curing salt. This is going to aid in the curing of the ribs. And we're going to go in with roughly 200 grams of kosher salt. My bowl's not quite big enough, so I have to measure this twice, but we're going to go in with 200 grams also of dark brown sugar. Pretty much what the brown sugar does is it gives you a good ham flavor, but it also kind of reacts all the salt you're putting in here so your meat doesn't cure out and get too salty. So we've got that. We're going to bring it up to simmer, and I'll have to start stirring. And you want to keep this moving, and you want to dissolve all the sugars and salts up into this. Mix it around, make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. Like I said, keep it moving. So all the sugar and salt is pretty much dissolved. And you want to take as less water as you can and heat it up. Because this whole brine recipe is roughly about 1.5 gallons of water to cover the top of the ribs. So when you add this to your water, you want to cool it down, but you might want to throw you a few ice cubes in there. My ribs are still partially frozen. I've done trimmed them up, so this will actually thaw them out a little bit, but I am going to let this cool off for a little while before I pour this into my brine container for my ribs. And I thought I had a spoon out here, but I didn't, so I'm using a sifting funnel. Sometimes you just got to use what you got, folks. Alright folks, so I'm not filling no more sugar and salt on the bottom of this. I believe we pretty much got it all dissolved in here. So what I'm going to do now is turn my burner off. Move it over here to the burner that's not on. And let this cool for a little while. And I'm going to go get my other container set up that we're going to put the ribs in the brine. Alright folks, so I've got my brine container set up. And this has cooled off quite a bit. That water's very cold. Now we're going to dump this in here. You can see there wasn't no salt left in the bottom of this, no sugar. Everything got dissolved like it was supposed to. Gonna reach in there and give this a little stir. Just like that. And then we'll add these beautiful spare ribs to this. I was able to find me some pretty decent meaty racks. And these are gonna go on in there. Both racks. Just like this. I'm going to let these brine for 2 days. I've experimented with these a few times, and I find that the 2-day brine makes it taste exactly like a ham. A 1-day brine is kind of a mix between a ham and a regular spare rib. So I like to let them cure for 2 days. Ribs don't take very long. They're real thin. I also read something the other day. I'm not no expert on wet curing, but I read in an article, I can't remember where I read it at, that you really can't overdo it with a wet brine. Maybe you can let them go longer. I don't know, but I just find that 2 days works perfect for me. So I'm gonna go get this popped in the fridge so it can do its thing. Next time you guys see me will be in 2 days. We put these ribs up on the smoker. Stay. All right, guys. So let's get our fire started for this cook. As usual, we'll go with a chimney full of charcoal. It can be lump charcoal, it can be regular charcoal, it can be any charcoal you want it to be. It really don't matter. All you're doing is starting a fire for the coal bed. Then I'm going to go on with a normal amount of wood, just split up in smaller pieces so it burns down quicker. Because it's New Year's Day and I partied last night and got a real late start on this. It'd be like that sometimes, but we got to get a coal bed going. Just like that, we got us a coal bed going, folks. Let's go season up our meat. Stay tuned. All right, folks. So these ribs brined for 2 days. This is what they're looking like. Nice and firm. I can tell the brine did its job. Now what we need to do now, season it up. I didn't video it. When you take it out of the brine, you need to wash all the stuff that you used in the brine off of it. Not all of it's going to come off unless you pick it off. Some of it gets stuck on there, and really not that big of a deal. With that being said, let's get these seasoned up. You can see all this stuff back here that's stuck to the fat and the silver skin on the back. So we're going to start off with hitting this with our 16 mesh black pepper as usual. And another reason you want to rinse this off, because you just brine this in a salty brine. So it is going to be salty. And with that being said, you don't want to add very little salt to your ribs. I'm going to hit it with a very light coat of Boneless Fiesta seasonal salt. Just a light coat. You don't want to hit it with too much because you run the risk of making it too salty. Pat that in a little bit. Get that flipped over to our presentation side. These are not the best trim jobs I've ever done on a rack of ribs, but they were pretty mangled up. I bought them in a 2-pack at Walmart. Go ahead and get these hit with some black pepper. Put as much as you'd like on there. I'm a Texas boy, so I like a lot of pepper. If you don't like a lot of pepper, don't put a lot of pepper on there. And we'll hit it with a light layer. Boneless Fiesta seasonal salt. Like I said, a real light layer. Just like that, we've got ham brine ribs seasoned up. Our coal bed's about burnt down. We'll be putting these on the pit here very soon. All right, folks, so we got them seasoned up. Our next step is we'll put these on the pit. Then I'm going to show you what kind of wood I'm going to use for this cook. We're going to change it up just a little bit. Stay tuned. Folks, the time has come. Throw on our ham brine pork spare ribs. That's what we got right there. Pepper soaked in, a little bit of seasoning salt we put on there is in there. Put that one right there, and put this one right here. These are not going to take long to cook. Probably about 4 hours, 5 hours tops. I've found that when you brine things, especially thin meat, it tends to cook a little bit faster. My target temp on these is going to be 275 to 300 until they finish up. We'll treat them just like we do our regular spare ribs. I won't open this lid for 3 hours. I'll let them get barked. At that point, I'll assess them. If I feel like I need to wrap them, I will wrap them. I'm on the fence right now with what I'm going to put in my wrap. If I'm going to do a honey mustard glaze or if I'm going to do brown sugar, honey, and butter. So we'll figure that part out when we get there. Let's go throw our wood on. Stay tuned. Folks, so that coal bed is burnt down. It's time to smash her on down. Gonna move it up. To the front right here. We're gonna throw our wood on. What I got right here is dense red oak that's barky. That's what I like to start my long cooks out with. Another piece just like it. I'm gonna go with one more, just like that one up top. Just like that. And then what I'm going on with next, something a little bit different than what I normally use. A dense piece of pecan. I'm gonna put that dude right there. You can see my coal bed's red hot, catching that dense wood right on fire. So we're gonna get, it's like I said, a target temp on these ribs, be 275, 300. We won't check on them for about 3 hours. Let that bark get set in. That pecan, I can already smell it burning. Pecan's gonna give you a nice flavor on your meat, but don't let the smell of pecan fool you. People that use straight up pecan, I've done it before myself. You can get carried away with it, with the smell. Same thing for hickory. It starts smelling so good, but then what you don't realize is you're over there over smoking your meat, and it don't taste pleasant. So I like to mix it with red oak. The mixture between red oak and pecan is a flavor profile that's like no other. So that's taken off. I like what I'm seeing there. I'm going to shut this firebox door down to about 1 inch open, and I will keep an eye on it. If something drastic changes in this fire management or temperature, I'll bring you guys in for that. I should get me about 2 hours of burn time out of that, if not more. So next time you guys see me will be either when we check these ribs or when I manage this fire. Stay folks tuned. So I've dropped off my target temp 275, and I got a feeling it's time to tighten this fire up. As you can see, the insides of these logs are burnt down pretty good. It's time to come in here with our trusty shovel and move things over just a little bit. We'll roll this guy back up on here a little bit more, our piece of pecan. We'll tighten everything up just like that. Now sometimes in the variables of firewood, I've got this log back here that's almost 2 foot long. What I'll do is I'll take them and I'll turn them a little sideways a little bit, where they'll sit down in there a little bit flatter. That's taken right off. That's going to get our heat back up. I'm going to close this down to 1 inch and let it do its thing. We're 1 hour in on this smoke right here. 1 hour in, our logs are not burned up that bad. We're running real efficient, low and slow fire. If we can get another hour, hour and a half out of this, that'll be good. So I'll bring you guys back. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're right at the 2 hour mark. My temp has started to drop a little bit. Got a feeling these logs are pretty well burnt down. So let's smash this up into our new coal bed. That one's still got a little bit of life left in it. Anytime I get these little pieces right here that don't quite burn up, I put them in the middle. Alright, so let's go on with our next logs. Just some dense, barky red oak. I still want to put some good smoke on this. We're only 2 hours into the cook. So I'm gonna put one right there. Put one right here. And we're gonna put this one right there. If anybody's wondering, I do not have arm hairs left. They're singed off. Then again, I'm gonna go with my dense piece of pecan wood right there on the front. So here in about an hour, we're gonna check them ham brine ribs. This is taking off. I'm gonna go ahead and get it closed down to about 1 inch and let it do its thing. We'll see how much burn time we get out of this setup. I would imagine it's gonna be about the same. Next time you guys see me will be when we check on the ham brine ribs. Stay. Alright, folks, we're officially at the 3-hour mark on our ham brine ribs. It's time to check them out. And I like the way that those are looking. They got good color. The bark is set. We're going to take these off and get them wrapped up. I'll bring you back in just a minute. Stay tuned. Alright, folks. So, putting down some brown sugar right here. And we're going to go on with some butter next. Squeezable butter. Then we're going to hit it with some honey. Local honey. All natural honey. Then we're going to take our ribs and put them face down. The brown sugar, honey, and butter. And then we are going to repeat the process on the back side of the rib. Putting the brown sugar down. And the butter. This is going to make for a real nice mixture with the ham juices in the bottom of the foil, with the honey, the butter, and the brown sugar. It's going to be a real good tasting rib at the end of this. So we'll take this, get it centered up in the foil, put a nice tight wrap on the spare rib. You want it wrapped up nice and tight. That way it cooks fast. You don't trap a bunch of steam in it. So I got those ribs wrapped up. I'll go throw them on the pit. I anticipate this on taking me about another hour, hour and a half. And we'll pull them and slice them up. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so we're right at the 4-hour mark. My temp is still holding just a hair below 275. So let's see how close we are to these being done with these ham brine ribs. What I normally do with my ribs is I pick them up like this, and if they're bending real easy with no hesitation, they're done. That one's done. Both of these racks of ribs right here are done. So these finished up in 4 hours and 15 minutes. Something about ham brine and ribs makes them finish quicker. Not exactly sure the science behind it, but I know that's how it works. So I'm going to go ahead and get these pulled off, let them rest for about an hour, hour and a half, and then we'll slice into them. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so here is the finished product on our ham brine ribs. Look how beautiful that looks. Perfect color. You got the pepper, you got the honey, you got the butter on there. Everything looks real nice. So now there's only one thing left to do. Let's slice it up. Slice a few of them off of here. Not gonna slice all of them. I have guests that need to eat. We'll take this dude right here out of the middle. That's always your telltale sign if you got a good cook on a rib. You can see it's pink all the way through, which means the cure did its job. Look at the pepper on that rib. That is beautiful. So let's try one of these out. Alright folks, so this smells amazing. It smells just like a ham, hence the ham brine ribs. And you can smell it, the cure on it. Just look how pink it looks right there. Look at the pepper on the rib. This is a beautiful rib. So let's take us a bite. See what we got. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ham on a stick. That's good. Nice clean bite. Can't go wrong with that. So it's not overly sweet, but it's got just enough sweetness to complement it. The black pepper's nice. The smoke flavor is there. That pecan and red oak taste awesome. And guys, I'm telling you, it tastes just like a ham you buy at the store. Probably better. That brown sugar gives it a sweet touch, along with that honey, and the butter gives it some richness. And man, I'm telling you right now, guys, this is awesome. Mm, can't beat that. Smells just like a ham too. That is some damn good eating. Mm. Gotta wipe my face off. Alright guys, if you've ever done ham brine spare ribs before, I highly encourage it. I got this from Chud's Barbecue a long time ago. I've done it a few times since then, and I've changed a few things up in the way that I do my brine. I'll put the recipe for it down there in the comments. I go heavier on the salt and the brown sugar to get more of a hammy flavor. As far as the pink curing salt goes, I put a little bit more than what's suggested. I had 2 pieces of meat in there, so I went with 40 grams. But if you're going to have a lot of water in there, you got to go just a little bit more pink salt. Yeah, it tastes awesome. I recommend at least a 2-day brine on your ribs. It's like I said, I read on the internet the other day. I don't know if it's true, but it's on the internet. It's got to be true that you can't over cure a ham or ribs or nothing like that in a wet cure. But 2 days is perfect. Cures those ribs all the way through. Gives it that genuine ham flavor. And then when you do it on the smoker back here, you get your smoked ham flavor. You could take it and put it in the oven if you wanted to, but however you want to do it, that's your business. But man, I'm telling you right now, those are awesome. The black pepper is actually giving it a kick of heat with it, which I like a whole lot. There you have it, folks. Ham brine ribs on a 250-gallon offset smoker. So if you like this video, please subscribe. Put in the comments what you want to see me cook next. Starting to run out of ideas, man. I'm gonna cook just about everything I can think of. So I need y'all's help on that. Happy New Year's, guys. Peace out.